Speaking of liveries and drivers, let's go ahead and do our livery shakedown. KO Jr. with a 206.250 leads the charge out in P1. Justin Cutler, the number 35 Nissan GTR for the Six Sigma Racing team, in second place, just 40 thousandths away from P1. Nate Roberts, 70 thousandths away from KO in the number 6. Ryan Nash in the 787, flying high in the number 4 BMW. Leo Mora is going to be in the number 30, flying Ferrari, and he is going to be in 5th place, 4/10 off the good. Kevin Lee, the number 14, in 6th place. Corey McNulty and the AMR Vantage on its home turf, the number 74 Gold Rims Bald Eagle Motorsports car. Wilson Ho for Six Sigma Racing as well, the number 888 in 8th place. Some call that fate. Dominic Schumann, the number 88, is in 9th place right now, 1.1 off the good. Benjamin Hyun for the FAF GTD Pro team is in 10th place, 2.1 off the good. BK, the number 9, is in 11th place. Laszlo Toth, the number 188, in 12th position, driving the McLaren. Isho, our good friend, the number 220, in 13th position, 2.9 away from podium. Nolan Diaz da Silva, the 111, in 14th spot, driving the Ferrari for Omega Sim Racing. Kenneth Choi, the number 85 Ferrari, is in 15th position. John Nickelford, the number 99, in 16th spot. Then we have Alan Pina, the number 91, in 17th position. Flashy of the headlights there, turning them on and off to let us know he's on stream. Macom Salas, the number 93 Porsche, in 18th spot. And then Andre Junior Morani, he is in the number 8 Lexus, driving in 19th position. And he's got a long way to go to catch up to the rest of the field. We are on a very short formation lap here, so the drivers have to get their tires warmed up and stay in that side-by-side formation very early on.
Green light,
Green, away we go, and who's got that great lead? That'll be KO Jr., but I thought it was going to be Ryan Nash able to get through on Nate Roberts, but no, not through turn 1. He's going to have to fight it going into Maggots and Beckett's. We have a battle for the lead up ahead, going into Maggots and Beckett's now. KO on the inside line, runs a little bit deep and wide, forces Justin Cutler to take evasive action now, and that'll be it. Holy Toledos are out. 1, 2, 3, KO Jr., Justin Cutler, Ryan Nash, Nate Roberts in 4th place. And it's very clean for all the drivers, despite the tricky and slippery conditions. This is going to be very clean. Hopefully this overtake will be as well. There goes Justin Cutler around the outside, coming through Stowe corner. And he is very fast through there, but the BMW stays planted on that inside line, and there goes a late braking lunge from Nate Roberts and a little bump in the rump there from the BMW, and he was just existing, but the GTR just absolutely sent it going into the club chicane and Vale. Holy smokes, this is going to be elbows out between Justin Cutler and KO Jr. right now. This is a battle for the ages. And we're going to turn on the amazing feature of auto camera to get beautiful side-by-side action of the number 29 making a late braking move again. Oh my goodness, what a send there. That was absolutely gorgeous from KO Jr., the Royal Motorsports team, doing a great job. Leo Mora getting caught up in a bit of a mix-up now. But gaining positions, the number 30 is in 6th place in front of Corey McNulty, Benjamin Hyun, and Wilson Ho. The number 74 is trying to make this a side-by-side battle coming down into Brooklands. Not on this occasion, though, says the 74. Corey McNulty wants to live to fight another day. EK going after it with Wilson Ho, the 888, trying to close the door, but saw that the 9 was there on the inside line. Here's the onboard shot of BK, watching Wilson Ho try to go by at Cops. It's going to be side by side through that tricky, fast right-hander. And man, oh man, we were in for a show tonight. I love the rainy conditions because of how much diversity it brings up to the surface. The challenge there, holy smokes, Wilson Ho almost runs into the back of BK, but narrowly avoids doing so. All clean here in the western front. Wilson Ho now gets passed by Dominic Schumont with a send through what looks like Stowe, but will he be able to hold on? That AMG is going a little squirrely there. Wilson Ho is trying to snap back, and he's not able to get late on the brakes enough. The 88 still stays off the defensive action and maneuvers very well there. Gaps have started to increase by just a little bit now. KO to Justin Cutler, 1 second away. Nate Roberts, 1.3 away from Cutler. Ryan Nash, about a second away. Laszlo Toth, not having any of that. He's right on the rear wing of Isho. Out in 12th place, Laszlo battling for the front of the pack in the Pro-Am category. There is a mandatory pit stop required for all of the drivers to use, but I don't imagine any of them are going to go ahead and take tires. Whoa, and there goes Cutler through on KO. Through Maggots and Beckett's. Let's see if we can get a quick 30 for 30 recap of what happened here. Like turn one's looking okay, maybe going a little bit wide there, and that's what it was. Going a little too wide into turn one. Has to allow the Nissan GT-R through at the entrance of Maggots and Beckett's, and that'll be done and dusted for now. KO's about 1.1 off the good from Cutler. Things have become inverted now. BK gets passed by Dominic Schumont. Schumont chopping it up through the field. Obviously a driver that is confident in these wet conditions. Doing a great job of showcasing his skill and his fortitude to drive forward. Laszlo Toth still 3/10 away from Isho. And Isho is a red plate driver, will be holding on to second place in front of Laszlo Toth, the 188. But can that Porsche stay consistent throughout this entire event? It's been one of Isho's downfalls for the most part, is that Porsche and the way that the fuel load works for this inline six is because it's in the front of the car. It affects the balance of the vehicle, so you have to be very mindful of the way that you go into some of these corners. Benjamin Hyun now defending from Dominic Schumont, but for how long can he hold back Schumont? I'm not so sure that this is going to last more than a lap or two. So we'll keep an eye on the timing tower, let you know what their times are when they cross the line. 110.5, 110.1 to a 209.5. Yeah, Schumont is about half a second, 0.6 of a second faster. But we all know catching is one thing, passing is a completely different ball game. And this is what Dominic Schumont has to do going into Maggots and Beckett's. Be a little bit patient there, and he exercises that amount. Thinks about self-preservation. This is a longer race than just a 20-minute sprint. He doesn't have to make up the positions right now on this very occasion. He can wait just a little bit longer. Now side by side coming down into Stowe. He's looking at that inside line, and it will be available for the 88, but a little bit of a touch there from the 38, trying to close down that door at the apex, but not enough to be found. And it looks like Dominic Chimont makes his move on Hyun, and that'll be it for the number 8, 88 and the 38. Nate Roberts found the chink in KO Jr.'s armor and now is exploiting it with fastest lap after fastest lap. A 208.095 will be the fastest lap of the race in these conditions. And now he's 4/10 away from second place. KO is about 1.6, 1.5 away from Justin Cutler, who's seemingly escaping with his life right now and staying away from any other traffic in the field like he wants to. No pit stops yet for any of the drivers. I don't expect to see any major pit stops happen until the end of this stint. Wilson Ho still trying to have arguments with BK over who should be in the top 10. And I think Wilson Ho's trying to show him that he deserves to be in that spot. On board, you can see how much spray is being kicked up from these wet conditions. But with 7 minutes to go until the rain subsides, who will decide to stay out on the wet tires and who will decide to come in onto some dry tires? Where will that optimum cutover period be? Only the drivers on track will truly know, unless they've got data being talked to into their ears right now. Cheers for Isho in chat from Eddie Y. AutoGeek23 cheering for McNulty. He's got a $200 bet on him to get into the top 10, or finish in the top 3, excuse me. So McNulty's got some work to do to make up that cash for Auto. Wilson Ho looking at the inside line of BK, trying to scare him into a mistake, but not on this occasion. Not going in towards turn 1, or excuse me, not going into Abbey, excuse me. Oh, and an incident for Nate Roberts. Let's see if we can get a recap incident of what happened here. Oh, and just braking on the curb. Does a nice pirouette, gets the car collected, but tumbles down into 7th place right when he was pressuring KO Jr. in that 2nd place spot. Alan Pena having an incident now. Let's see if we can get an instant recap of what happened to the 91. Seemingly no damage to that car. Ooh, and a bit of a slip and slide there. Got on the brakes just in the nick of time. Coming through entry. And it was awfully close to being an incident, but he avoided it like the plague. Deep battle here between Laszlo Toth and Isho. Wilson Ho's about 1 second up the road, but it looks a lot closer than that from the camera view. And Kevin Lee, our championship leader right now, is threatening for a podium spot behind Ryan Nash, about half a second away, but it's slinking out to around 1 second. Here it is, Ryan Nash and Kevin Lee. Bald Eagle Motorsports flying high in that 787. Oh, Isho, Laszlo, Toth, all separated by just about nil right now. There goes the move. Isho goes through on Wilson Ho, back through to defend his position. Wilson was trying to get through at Brooklands, but just unable to do so. Oh, and there goes a mistake from Wilson Ho. Laszlo Toth able to just snake his way by through turn one's exit. And the Six Sigma Racing team has inverted itself. Wilson Ho loses out one position, and the threat is on for Laszlo Toth to get the hurry up and go now. And we've seen it before between the Six Sigma Racing drivers that there are no team orders between them. Just whomever is the fastest driver gets let through at the end of the day. Back to the battle between Kevin Lee and Ryan Nash. Gap has opened up to around 1 second between the two drivers. Number 14 possibly having overheated his tires earlier on. And there goes Dominic Schumont trying to get threatened by whom is that? Nate Roberts, or trying to threaten Nate Roberts, but Roberts puts on the defensive move of a century, but there goes back on the inside line is the 88, and is he able to hold on there? Coming through left field, he is. Dominic Schumont pulls off an amazing switchback on a champion like Nate Roberts, but Roberts isn't done with this conversation yet. Coming into turn one, Copps' corner. You never stick a wheel up the inside of Copps. As we heard from Toto Wolff, the 88 defends like a lion and keeps back Nate Roberts' efforts. This is the battle between John Nickelford and Alan Pena. Pena looking to the inside line, trying to scare Johnny Nickelford into something. But no, not on this occasion. With the track temperature increasing 31 degrees, it has already gone damp as the weather has subsided. Now the drivers will all have to decide when the cutover period is to go onto the dry tires and if that is going to be a feasible move. Although we're still seeing windshield wipers on for some, that's just due to the spray being kicked up from the cars out in front. Pena able to get by John Nickelford, the number 99 FAF GTD car. who looks like he's seen some better days. The number 99, obviously involved with an intimate relationship with the walls at some point. Not seeing it pop up on the accident tab. Kevin Lee has opened up the gap to 4.2 seconds, separating himself from Nash. Leo Mora and Corey McNulty not battling in class for points. And there goes Dominic Schumont with a huge moment through Maggots and Beckett's, able to get the car collected, but he loses out a position to Nate Roberts that he was defending so hard for. Leo Mora and Corey McNulty, it's all popping off on this lap 8 of the 35 minutes or 26 and a half minutes that we have remaining. John Nickelford and Pena snapping back at each other as well, coming through Brooklands. John Nickelford trying his darndest to keep in touch with Alan Pena and the Porsche Motorsport team, but I think his efforts are going unnoticed. Pena keeps on driving away. Gap has opened up to around 1 second. Nate Roberts chasing down Leo Mora next. In 7 minutes time, the wet weather will come back, it looks like, on the track radar, it seems. The drying conditions only lasting for a little bit of time. Maybe we will see some decide to take tires, as they may have overheated them. Whoa, and there goes Nate Roberts to the inside line really early on. I think he may have had an oversteer moment. Kevin Lee down pit lane, he goes. That'll be our championship leader in the category of GTD Pro. Nate Roberts glued all over the rear end of Leo Mora like a brand new license plate on that car. Looking to the inside, outside line goes Nate Roberts, and he's going to have a bit of a good exit and a drag race going down in towards Stowe. Will it be enough to cover it off? Leo Mora snaps back to the inside line there. Tries to find an opportunity to defend from Nate Roberts, but unable to do so. Nate is just too quick through that sector. Kevin Lee coming out of pit lane, and what kind of tires is Kevin Lee on? It looks like another set of wet tires as 2 minutes until the wet weather comes back in. Kevin Lee obviously nursing a pair of very hot tires. Nate Roberts and Dominic Schumont getting involved with each other yet again. Nate Roberts seemingly having an incident, a yellow flag. Let's see if we can get an instant review of what happened here. How he lost position to Leo Mora yet again. Checking up behind the Lexus, it looks like. He goes off the circuit. Lets a couple of cars by. Now the 88 of Dominic Schumont is back into the battle between himself and Nate Roberts. KO Jr. 1.6 behind Justin Cutler. The gap has come down, but Cutler's snatched away the fastest lap of the race, a 2:06.792 in front of KO. Ryan Nash in third place, Corey McNulty in fourth, Leo Mora in fifth, Dominic Schumont in sixth, Nate Roberts in seventh, Benjamin Hyun in eighth, Isho in ninth, Laszlo Toth in 10th. Here's the battle between Toth and Isho. Isho down pit lane he goes. Isho will not gain that position. Laszlo Toth will. Oh, Wolf Rage Welcome to the channel. Thank you very much for tuning in to Omega Sim Racing. From runway to racetrack, Silverstone was originally a World War II Royal Air Force bomber station. Its layout still reflects the triangular shape of the former airfield runways, as you can tell from the mini-map. First ever F1 race in Silverstone, it hosted the inaugural Formula One World Championship race on May 13th, 1950, attended by King George VI, making it the first and only F1 race be graced by a reigning British monarch. Three-way scrap right now between Schumacher, Nate Roberts, and Leo Mora. Leo loses out 2 for 1 as Schumacher and Roberts are able to go through at the loop entrance. And there goes Nate Roberts down pit lane himself. Seeing sub 30-second pit stops for a lot of drivers right now. I expect Nate Roberts to do roughly the same. No, and a drive-through penalty for Kevin Lee. His 3.2 stop was a little too quick, I imagine. The championship leader is going to fall back by quite a few positions. You can see the rain coming down on Laszlo Tott's windshield now, and there it is, the rain coming down. Cooling off those tires yet again. Bit of a tricky race going from wet to damp back to wet yet again. Drivers had to have played their cards just right. A little bit of an incident there between number 9 and 38 from what I could see. Drive-through cleared for the number 14, Kevin Lee, back out in 9th position, behind Nate Roberts by 17.1 seconds. Big slip and slide moment there for BK. Benjamin Hyun was there to take advantage of that, but couldn't find out where that Porsche was going to end up back out of it. 1 second is the gap separating the two drivers. And BK gets issued a 5-second penalty, presumably for incident responsibility on the racetrack. BK really trying to find somewhere to cool off those tires. He is definitely struggling right now with traction. Those tires have got to be more like moon balloons than anything he's driven on recently. I think Kevin Lee pulled out the right strategy. Come down pit road, cool down the tires as much as possible during that dry session, and then head back out when the track was going to start turning damp again. Riding on board with Dominic Schumacher, the number 88 started off in 9th place, now into 5th place. Clear air in front of him, clear air behind Schumacher for the PARC Pro-Am Racing team, number 88. He's on a little bit of an island now. 4.7 back is Leo Mora, and 8.3 is Corey McNulty out in front. And you could just see how far he is up the road just with a glimpse there. Corey McNulty, the number 74, chasing down Ryan Nash. 1.6 seconds is the gap. The 88 of Wilson Ho is stranded at the exit of Luffield. Let's see if we can get an instant review of what happened to the number 88. Oh, and just the slowest of turn in. And it almost looks like there was a mechanical failure there for Wilson Ho, as he couldn't get the wheel turned back around. And that'll end his efforts. The Six Sigma Racing Team driver headed back down pit road. Benjamin Hyun chasing down Isho, the FAF GTD Pro driver, trying to get around the GTD AM. And Isho has already made his pit stop. You can tell the difference by the red wing mirrors from the green wing mirrors. In through Maggots and Beckett's. If you've ever wondered why it's called Maggots and Beckett's, I'll have you know. Maggots takes its corner name from Maggots Moor, an area of land near the circuit. It's an old name dating back to the medieval times. The origin of the name Maggots isn't entirely clear, but it's believed to be related to a local field or moorland area with this quirky title. And Beckett's is named after Beckett's Chapel, which is located near the circuit and dedicated to St. Thomas Becket, a significant figure in English history. Thomas Becket was a 12th century archbishop in Canterbury who was martyred and later canonized as a saint. Three plaid FAF drivers, nose to tail right now. Isho, Hyun, and BK. BK trying to get around some way of Benjamin Hyun, but a 5-second penalty will bequeath him. And they're about to go 3 wide as there's a driver coming back onto the racing circuit. Whom is that? That might be Milton Diaz. No, that'll be Pina in the number 91, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, excuse me, that's Makem Salas. I apologize. Battle here. BK gets through on Isho. No, and KO Jr. on his pit stop gets a drive-through penalty. That'll be done and dusted for the lead of the race. Cutler will be able to walk away with it. Number of penalties getting handed out this race due to the tricky conditions. Drivers potentially gaining a little bit more speed than they should have throughout the wet stint. Oh, and Benjamin Hyun with a big take slapper, but able to recover somehow, some way through Maggots and Beckett's out of Chapel. Flashy of the headlights from the 74 of Corey McNulty. on Kenneth Choi. And just 12.5 minutes remaining on the clock, folks, before we are concluded with this epic rainy race here at Silverstone for the Omega Sim Racing channel. Again, big shout out to FAF for the love of the road, and to the Six Sigma Racing team for their sponsorship of this championship, the Pro-Am Racing Challenge. BAF drivers still battling it out. Looking at the inside line is Benjamin Hyun on his ally Isho. Isho probably saying in his helmet right now, if you're faster than me, just pass me already. But Isho is the faster of the two. 2:11.5 to 2:11.9 for Benjamin Hyun. Nomura and Laszlo Toth both need to pit. And there goes Hyun up the inside line on Isho, coming through Stowe and in through Vale. And it might be done and dusted. I don't think Isho's going to snap back and try to defend this too hard because they are teammates. But Hyun goes a little bit too deep at the entrance of Club and leaves Isho kind of stranded there, going a little bit wide down the Lewis Hamilton straight. Isho is not too careful and gets pushed out wide like that a few more times. He might get a drive-through penalty for track limits violations. KO Jr. down pit road he goes to serve his drive-through penalty that he got. And that should spit him out down in 8th position, or maybe behind Kevin Lee. But right now, it's Justin Cutler's race, as he's got nobody around him. 28.9 second lead to Dominic Schumont. Justin Cutler driving the Nissan GTR. Nissan GTR 3.8 liter V6 twin turbo with 550 horsepower. Great at tire management, strong traction, and stability. Laszlo trying to get around the triple line of Diaz de Silva. Young Diaz de Silva being a good back marker, getting out of the way on the straight, not putting up too much of a fight there. Here's looking at John Nickelford of the FAF GTD, number 99. And he has not taken his pit stop, not repaired his car yet. He's in 4th place of his category for now. That has Kevin Choi within 50 seconds. of him. So it will be a battle for the best of the rest between Choi and Nickelford. Seven minutes and 30 seconds remaining on the clock, everybody. The clock has officially struck midnight here at Silverstone. We're going to get about 3 more laps, and that's all she'll wrote. If you want to get your pit stop in, you better get it done sooner rather than later. Kevin Lee now caught up to the rear end of KO. About 8-10 separating the two drivers. I said it was going to be close coming out of pit lane. I didn't think it was going to be this close. Both drivers incurring drive-through penalties and serving them. Goes to show you how close this battle would have been up at the front of the field. Brian Ash getting around that 111 of Nilton Diaz de Silva. Back to the battle here between the two former race leaders, KO Jr. and Kevin Lee, getting around back markers with relative ease. Lap traffic giveth, lap traffic taketh away. He's bunched up these two drivers. Lee looks to the inside line, will hold on, but the outside line is what he's going to get through left field now. And KO drifts a little far out wide, drifts out to the number 14, and the 14 snaps right back in the line. Now out of Woodcott, though, it looks like Lee has a good run, but I don't think he's going to get the overlap going in towards Copps. Not enough to make a move. But it's close going into Maggots and Beckett's between the two drivers. Nothing separates the two of them. The track has gone damp yet again. Closing down the gap under the braking zone on KO. Laszlo Toth gets a 5-second penalty. Presumably again for incident responsibility. Up the inside of Abbey, can't find the daylight on KO. Checking back in with Ryan Nash. He's about 1.6 away from Laszlo Toth. He will inherit 4th place of this race when the checker flag falls. Laszlo Toth actually down pit lane he goes. I forgot he has to take a pit stop. Leo Mora down pit lane. Dominic Chimont down pit lane. Now, turn 19. Nate Roberts and Dominic Chimont sure are glued to each other, but this is the battle right now. KO Jr. gets passed by Kevin Lee at the exit of turn 1. And looking forward, though, Nate Roberts is glued all over the rear end of Dominic Schumann. They were battling earlier on in this race for battling for positions as well, and the race has continued on for the past 40 minutes or so. And it'll be this lap plus one more, and then the race will be concluded. Everybody's going to turn into a pumpkin when the clock strikes midnight.
All right, man. The leader is
Oh
on the
no,
final
and
lap.
Nate Roberts
Final
with a
push.
giant tank slapper. And where is he out on the racetrack? This looks like coming through Farm Curve. Or out of Aintree, actually. Excuse me, is Nate Roberts. And does a pirouette, but able to get the car collected in front of Leo Mora. But those tires have got to be screaming by now. Kevin Lee not done with his charge yet, battling Leo Mora for position. Just 2/10 away from the 6th place spot after a drive-through penalty will be something to definitely brag about. Obviously, what could have been or what could have was will be on Kevin Lee's mind, as he lost 30 seconds nearly coming down pit road. That should have easily put him in the top 3. Battling Ferraris here between Kevin Lee and Leo Mora. Now at the entrance to club, the move is done and dusted. Photography has done it.
The leader has finished the race.
And that'll be Justin Cutler taking the checkered flag for the final time. That'll be it, done and dusted. Another win for Justin Cutler, the number 35 Nissan GT-R. About 20 seconds back will be Ryan Nash in the flying 787 for the Bald Eagle Motorsports. Then Corey McNulty in 3rd place. Dominic Schumann going a little bit slowly as he gets to the line. Potentially run out of fuel? Let's Nate Roberts go through. And Nate Roberts in 4th place. Dominic Schumann in 5th place. Kevin Lee will cross the line in 6th place. Leo Mora in 7th. KO Jr. in 8th, Laszlo Toth in 9th, Benjamin Hyun the next in the top 10. 1, 2, 3 in the pro category will be Cutler, Nash, McNulty. 1, 2, 3 in the pro-am will be Leo Mora, Laszlo Toth, and then Isho. BK in 11th, Isho crossing the line in 12th place. Johnny Nickelford, Kenneth Choi, Macom Salas, Nilton Diaz de Silva, Andre Jr. Morani, Alan Pena, Wilson Ho. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you very much for sticking around. It's been a pleasure to be your host on another Tuesday evening, afternoon, or Wednesday morning, wherever you are in the world. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for all of the love and support that you guys are giving to the Omega Racing stream. Thank you very much to our sponsors, FAF for the love of the road, and to Six Sigma Racing, Six Sigma Sim Racing, for their sponsorships, including prizes given out at the end of the championship season. We have 5 more races left in this season. We've got Bathurst up next, Spa, Francorchamps, Watkins Glen, Imola, Barcelona, and I know I'll catch you next week for another wonderful round here at Omega Sim Racing. I've been your commentator, The Real High, aka Sagabashi. Again, thank you very much for your support. As always, have a wonderful night and stay safe out there. Bye-bye.